Hello everybody and welcome back. I've been asked to do some tutorials, so here is one, a winter tree tutorial. First I start with this little snow hill, and then I use this brush. This is a huge brush that I can get in the mixed media section at Michael's. It's very soft and synthetic.
Okay, so first I do the trunk. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just gives me an idea. And I get rid of, on the bottom here, I get rid of that, like, that line, like that. Get rid of that. And then, with this brush, you can do two different trees. One is an upward tree, and two is a downward branch tree.
So it's super important for the angle of the brush. So I'm almost pointed completely down before I start tapping. And as I tap, I keep it angled down, and that's going to give you the upward shaped branches.
Super lightly at the top, because you don't want it to be like huge chunkers at the top. So do a little bit of that, and then as I tap, I go back and forth, and I start getting a little bit wider, and I'm just tapping and going back and forth. And then by the time I get to right around here is when I start pressing a little harder, and I actually don't lift all the way up. I'm pressing down, and I'm kind of doing like this movement here, but faster. So just up and down, and I'm keeping it, I'm moving my wrist as I get to the edge, so that it gives it a little bit of a flick up. And then I'll show you how I do that faster. So it's just like this, right? It's almost pushing it down and moving it up in a sawing action. And you know, when you get fast, it actually adds a lot of character to the tree and gaps and things, because you're not always touching exactly because you're going pretty fast. So the faster you get, the more detail the trees actually end up having, even though it's kind of a messy style. So now you step back, you see all these details, which really are just pushes of the brush. A nice big tall one here. So with this one, I'm going to leave the trunk on the bottom. I'm not going to do the tree all the way down to the bottom. So I gave myself a nice thick trunk there, so it looks more realistic. And then I'm going to do the down one. So same thing, just barely touch the top, only use like a quarter of your, or less than a quarter of your brush at the top.
And as you can see, I'm angling upward for the downward branches.
And then once you get to about this part, you want to keep moving out. With these downward branches, I always lift up. I don't do the pushing like I did on this one. And I let these bristles, like if they're slightly apart, they're not perfect, it actually helps quite a bit. So to create those different branches.
We're using craft acrylic paint. So just the little tubes you get at Michael's.
Or you can get the bigger versions, like the bulk stuff. If you're getting bulk, I like Mart. You can get it on Amazon, Mart, and I think you can get it at Michael's and stuff too. But Mart is a really good brand for this. Comes off easy and it goes on thick. So, like I was saying, when I get down to the bottom here, I'm actually going to leave this trunk. So I'm going to start like spreading this out like it's the bottom of the tree. So really only going to do a couple branches here and there to make it look like it's reached the bottom. And there we go. Another happy tree. Just tapping super lightly on the top. And right about here, I'm not going to lift up anymore. I'm just going to do the jigsaw back and forth, and moving my wrist like this so that it's pointed upward by the time I get to the corner. So it's like this. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. You have to make the noise. Say whoosh.
Thank you.
Another thing is when you're doing the trunk, you got to make sure that it's pretty straight. if you don't have a pretty straight trunk, then it will end up skewing your tree. And this one's a little bit off. So what I'm doing is I'm adding more to this side and less to this side, so that eventually it will look like the trunk is more centered. And that'll do. Trees are not perfect in nature anyway, so right here.
Below that is also where everyone puts their foot on the door, puts their knee on the door, so they're going to smudge it, so always keep it a little bit higher. And awning wise, there's not too much here. It's basically just this much, so hopefully the rain goes a different direction. Excellent.
Gouda like cheese!
So that is it for today. Hopefully you can get something out of this tutorial and create these two different types of trees at home.